Hello beautiful people. Today we're going to talk about how to get noticed at work for a promotion. At the end of this video, you will have a much better strategy than simply getting noticed for getting promoted. Together we're going to look at how getting noticed is not enough and will never be enough if you want to get promoted. We're going to look at how you can get noticed for the good things and not so much for the bad things. And we're also going to completely replace getting noticed with a much more effective and powerful strategy. So hang in here with me. Please, please, please tell me that getting noticed is not your getting promoted strategy. You're going to need an awful lot more. Please also tell me that offering to help is not your getting promoted strategy. I had a guy who used to work for me who would come into my office every single day and offer to help me. The last thing I wanted to do was promote him. As a matter of fact, I wanted to demote him. So we're going to talk about that as well. People get noticed at work for different reasons, both good and bad. When I was in my early 20s, I was working in London for one of the big banks there. We were installing a new system and I was running tests through the new system. And the new system was for moving money through international banks. And one of my tests was to move $1 million from one account to another account. And I'd set up the accounts in my own name because they were test accounts. And the thing that I didn't realize was the system had already gone live, only nobody had told us. We were still running test scripts. And I got a call from my partner in the consulting firm I was working for, who was probably about 5 levels ahead of me at that time. And the partner was calling me because the CEO of the bank had called him to know why some woman called Jennifer Kenny was moving $1 million offshore to another account. So I had quite a bit of explaining to do because it took me a while to figure out what on earth was going on. But we discovered the system had gone live and I hadn't been told. That's the sort of thing you actually really don't want to get noticed for when the CEO of a major international bank is calling your boss to tell you that they have a problem. So let's talk about how you get noticed for the good, because obviously getting noticed for the bad is not a path you want to follow. Getting noticed for the good is putting yourself in a situation where people actually understand what it is that you're doing and they understand how it is that you're working to add value. And they know that you're done. They know that you've completed the loop and you've delivered the value and they're able to say thank you to you. So one of the important ways to think about this is I make an offer to somebody. That someone knows I'm making a valuable offer to them. We talk about what it's going to take for them to be satisfied. We talk about the value that I'm bringing. We talk about how we're going to measure it. We talk about how they're going to know when they're satisfied. I go away and do the work and I involve anyone else that I need to in order to be able to deliver on it. And then I come back to them and I say, I am done. Here's the finished product, or this action's already been taken, or this work has already been done. And I would like to know whether or not you're satisfied with what I did. So this is a super uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people to ask whether or not their internal customer is satisfied with something that they've done. And I don't mean that you simply say to them, hey, is that okay? Or, oh, I'm done now. That you actually go to them and sit down and say, are you satisfied with what I did? It's amazing what comes out in the wash when you have those kind of conversations with people. They will take time to reflect above and beyond just simply saying, oh yeah, you did a great job. Whenever you hear someone saying, oh yeah, you did a great job, there's your moment to actually get in there and say, were you satisfied with what I did? So that's your easy entry point. You can learn so much from understanding whether or not someone is satisfied that it will actually accelerate your next promotion. One of the ways to not get noticed for the bad stuff is to anticipate the bad stuff. We all are smart enough to be able to know when the train is beginning to come off the tracks, when something is beginning to go wrong, when a failure is about to happen. We either sense it or we have a conversation with someone and we hit ourselves in the forehead and go, it's about to happen again. A lot of people then bury their heads in the sand because plenty of us have worked in organizations where the messenger has gotten shot. The messenger getting shot these days happens a lot less, I believe, because people have become more sophisticated around having the conversations of what I refer to as declaring a breakdown. So imagine you're driving along the freeway It's pouring rain, you're minding your own business, your car's not leaking, you've got some nice music going on, and all of a sudden, bam, your tire explodes. That used to happen a lot more in the past. It still happens today, but it means that you're trying to control your car so that you don't crash into another car. That's a breakdown. Those sort of things happen at work all the time. The problem is people don't actually recognize them and they don't anticipate them about to happen. And even if they do, they don't put their hands up. So one of the ways to not get noticed for the bad things at work is to declare the breakdown before it happens. So had I been older and wiser and savvier when I was working for this big bank in London, I would have been talking to the lead of the Go Live team, which I wasn't doing because I didn't even know they existed. I would have been talking to the leader of the Go Live team, and I would have had a schedule with them as to when it was they were planning on going live. And then I would have been putting through test cases, and I would have made sure that they weren't planning on going live while I was still in the middle of testing. So that coordination of knowing that someone else is out there doing something that is related to what you're doing and is going to potentially impact what you're doing is an opportunity to be able to say, I anticipate that we are going to have a serious problem if the system goes live while we're still testing it. It's a fairly obvious one, but it almost got me fired. So I think for you, if you look at the importance of anticipating where things might fall off the rails, where things might go wrong, and being able to find a way to head those off of the path, you will save yourself a lot of trouble for getting noticed for the bad things, and you'll position yourself much, much more strongly to get promoted for the good ones. One of the big failures that we all make is that we expect to be able to do good work and get noticed. I would love to live in a world where simply doing good work was enough to get you promoted and enough to get you noticed. But there is the saying, the squeaky wheel gets the attention. And you don't have to be a squeaky wheel in that you don't have to be a pain in the ass. You don't have to be always asking for things or always demanding things or always doing like 2 and 4-year-olds do, mommy, 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 look at me. What you can be doing is you can be making sure that you are making the offers you need to make, you are closing the loops that you need to make, you are delivering on your promises. One of the ways to assess whether or not you're doing that on a recurring basis is to do my promotion readiness assessment, which there's a link for it down in the description, and be really honest with yourself and see whether or not you're the one who's anticipating potential breakdowns and trying to head those off of the pass. You're the one who's making powerful offers that are above and beyond what your current job description is. And you're the one who's actually closing the loop with your internal customers, having the difficult conversations, looking them straight in the eye and asking them whether or not they're satisfied with what it is that you've done. I wish you courage and joy.